ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So let's see the recap what we did in the last class. This verse talks about how because of our ignorance, Atma is hidden behind the ignorance. So this is compared to the sun. Sun in a cloudy weather, can we expect the sun to be seen? Does that mean sun is not there? No. So in the same way, Atma is within us because the ignorance hides the Atma away from us. As sun, does the sun need light from any other object for it to be illuminated? No. In the same way, Atma has its own light. If it is compared to the sun, it is brighter, it is being camouflaged by the ignorance. So, Jnana of the self lifts the ignorance, and end of ignorance, the ego too ends. When the ego has ended, knowledge becomes self-evident. Ignorance in enveloping the infinite, when the ignorance is removed, the self becomes manifest. The ego rediscovers the self and it becomes the self. So this is basically when the ignorance is removed, when we get the self-knowledge and the jnana, naturally we will see the Atma illuminating within us. So realized man will never fall back again into ignorance and sensuousness. We will always wonder that when we attain self-knowledge, when we become a jnani, will we go back to our old self? No. It is like once we wake up from the dream, are we scared that the dream, we are being, we see a tiger in the dream, chased by the tiger. As soon as you wake up, are you worried that tiger is going to come and bite us? That is what. We are in the dreaming state now. When we wake up and realize the original nature of us, the self Atma, then the dream will be gone. So realized man will never fall back again into ignorance and sensuousness. The ego comes to total extinction by ending the dreary darkness of ignorance. The self-realization will be the final experience. No more the finite will have its own self-created world of finitude and imperfection. Because now whatever we see, we create our own world. This is not the original world. So when we attain self-knowledge and we realize the self, then naturally we'll be living in the true self and in the exact world of Brahma. Now, how will a jnani look at everyone around him? That is, he will have an equal life. He can be a Brahman, that is endowed with scholarship. He will be like he is one of the top students, top Brahman. He can be anyone. But for a jnani, he sees him as the Atma. It can be cow, it can be an elephant, or it can be a dog. It can be anyone. But self-realized man, the jnani, will always see everyone as equal. He will not differentiate anyone around him. So everywhere he realizes the presence of the same truth. So samatvam of samadarshi. What is that? Actually, if we see river flowing, you see the banks. Are the banks also moving along with the river? The banks should be stable because in case of flood, in everything, only when the banks are stable, the river can have a smooth course. So in the same way, Atma will never change. Atma will be the same. That is the base substratum of the individual we are. So that will be the same in any situation. The mind ends, the limited ego with the hold of samsara also ends. So ego stripped of samsarika sorrows discovers itself to be nothing than the self. So when the ego, the sorrows, desires and everything removed, naturally what remains is the Atma, the self. Another example I can state, we are having a cup of tea. You remove the milk, you remove the tea leaves, you remove the sugar, you remove the water. What will remain? empty cup. That is what desire, sorrow, everything is being removed from this ego. Then what remains is the Atma. So such a person who has conquered his mind and he who lives in perfect equanimity in all conditions of life, in all its relationships. He indeed rests in Brahman. So he only sees the Brahman in everything, in whoever the relationship be, in everything. It can be anyone, like what we saw in the previous verse. He sees only the Brahman and rests in Brahman. So he'll be like a lighthouse standing in the seashore. So for the normal person, egoistic person, as we are, what will happen in the sea will be like a weed, that is seaweed. That whenever the waves come, we'll be tossed up and down. But whereas a jnani will be like a lighthouse, will be standing up steady in spite of storm, cyclone, anything can be tide, anything, whatever might be the situation, but he'll be strong and steady. So, see, if someone dies in a village, that person is not related to us. How will our emotions be? But in case that person whose past is related to us, maybe a person in our family, how will be the emotions? But for a jnani, emotion will be still the same. So the Brahman who has realized the Brahman discovers in himself his own wisdom, a balance, and an equipoise which cannot be shattered easily. So anything can happen around him, to his family, to him, but he'll have a mind of stability. Intellect becomes steady, not poisoned with the usual egocentric misconceptions. So misconceptions, misunderstandings, everything comes only to the egocentric, that is the ego, the ahankara. The one who knows Brahman, becoming Brahman, he'll be established in the Brahmika consciousness of infinite beatitude. Beatitude is the blessing, the infinite blessing of the Brahman. So the one who's realized will be very stable, steady, and with an equipoise mind. So God, man, walking upon the earth with unlimited happiness and joy. What will that jnani will have is 24/7, 365 days of holiday. The mind of jnani will be in that kind of a state. Very well.
Fifth chapter, 21, first verse. Bahyasparsheshvasakthatma Vindatyatmani yatsukham Sa brahma yoga yuktatma Sugam akshaya asnute So Krishna talks about the transformation that the jnani enjoys as a result of this knowledge. Previous 18, 19, 20, as been told, talking about the transformation caused by knowledge. First 18, Sarvatra Samma Darshanam, and second, conquering mortality, fear of death. Because of fear of death only, basic innate instinctive fear. And third, 20th verse, the perspective in facing ups and downs of life. Example, our Swami says, climbing Mount Everest, we have to prepare everything, ups and downs, altitude and food, whatever, and cold, everything we have to prepare and go like that. And he's quoting football match also, training, coaching is necessary. And one important training, how to fall without getting injury. And even if you fall, then again you have to get up soon and then you have to go along with the life, how that and all he has told. So we have to, whole life is gained with countless, not only physical but psychological fall. So Vedanta or Jnanam is only a coaching. So tragedy comes, defeat comes, but we have to come out of that and then we have to live our life. So life is meant for living, whether others are there with me or not. So this verse, the Tamil Alaga Sandranga, புறம் பொருள்களில் மனம் பற்றாதவன், that is சிற்றின்பங்கள், வெளி டிசையர்ஸ், ஆத்மாவில் இன்பம் எழுதுகிறான். பிரம்ம சமாதியில் மனதிலுடைய மனிதன் அழியாத சுகத்தை அடைகிறான். சேம் மீனிங். One whose mind is not engaged in external objects attains that ananda which is in Atma. Mind is engaged in the meditation of Brahman attains lasting ananda. அழியாத சுகத்தை அடைகிறான். இல்ல தமிழ்ல வந்து ஒரு சக்கர வாகனம், ஒரு பட்சி பறவை எப்போதும் வானத்துல இருக்கு, பறந்துகிட்டே இருக்குமா. என்னன்னா அது சீல இருக்கிற தண்ணி இல்லைன்னா ரிவர்ல இருக்கிற வாட்டர் எதையுமே குடிக்காதான், ஒன்லி அந்த மழை தண்ணி மட்டும்தான் குடிக்கும். ஈவன் அந்த வறண்டு போச்சுட்டோங்க அப்படின்னு எவ்வளவு கஷ்டமா இருந்தாலும் அந்த தண்ணியை எதிர்பார்த்துதான் இருக்கும். அந்த மாதிரி நம்மளுக்கு நீங்க சொன்னீங்க சார், வைராகியம், ஆத்மா பத்தி நம்ம நினைக்கணும், அந்த ஆத்மா ஞானத்தை பத்தி நினைக்கணும், அந்த சந்தோஷத்தை அடையணும்ன்ற வைராகியம் நம்மளுக்கு வேணும். So Atmananda means Jnani's Ananda, fulfillment and joy. It's derived from his higher self. Jnani has learned to tap Atmananda. So எப்படி ஞானி வந்து இப்போ ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் அவர் கொடுக்குறாரு நம்ம சுவாமிஜி. ராமகிருஷ்ணா மடத்துல வந்து ஒரு தடவை வாட்டர் சப்ளை இல்லை. ஸோ அவங்க எல்லாருமே பயந்துட்டு உடனே என்ன பண்ணோம், ஸோ ரிவர்ல இருந்து ஒரு கெனால் நம்ம ஒரு பைப் லைன் எடுக்கணும், அதுக்கெல்லாம் லேக்ஸ் கணக்கில் செலவாகுது, எல்லாம் பண்ணிடுறாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு இன்ஜினியர் வராரு, வாட்டர் டிவைடர். அவர் வந்து பார்த்துட்டு இந்த வாட்டர் சோர்ஸ் உங்க காம்பவுண்டுக்குள்ளேயே இருக்கு, நீங்க அதை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா யூ கேன் கெட் தட் வாட்டர் சப்ளை அப்படின்னு அந்த இடத்துல டெக்ட் பண்ணா அதுல வாட்டர் அவ்வளவு நல்லா வருது. ஸோ நம்ம ஆத்மாக்குள்ளேயே எல்லாமே இருக்கு, நம்ம அதை விட்டுட்டு நம்ம வெளியில தான் போறோம். அதுவும் வரட்டும், we enjoy that, but when it is not there we have to enjoy it. போர்வெல் அந்த வாட்டர் நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணி எப்படி கஷ்டம் இல்லாம இருக்கிறோமோ அது மாதிரி நம்ம ஆத்மாவை நினைச்ச அந்த நாலேஜை நம்ம கொண்டு வரணும்னு ஹவு டு டேப் வந்து ஞானி ஹஸ் லேர்ன் டு டேப் ஆத்மானந்தா. Ajnani has got anatma as source of ananda. That is, anatma means external object, sense and the body. Jnani has got atma as the source of ananda. So Ajnani derives happiness from external sources, that is finite sense object. Finite எத்தனைதான் இது வேணும் அது வேணும் எல்லாத்தையும் நம்ம நினைச்சிட்டாலும் it is going to be finite only, not infinite. But Jnani derives ananda from inner source which is infinite. So including all the Ananda is included in the Atmananda. Like that, Jnani derives Ananda from inner source as well as external source. Also, he will enjoy, but he will not go for that actually. Atmananda includes all the Ananda of the world. Ananda of a Ajnani includes only Ananda of the world. But Atmananda is superior to all of them. Everything with importance to the Atma. So Brahma Yoga is Atma. Jnani whose mind is associated with Brahman taps Brahmananda. So Brahma Jnanam is the knowledge that I am Brahman. Jnani whose mind is endowed with Brahma Jnanam. Jnani has uninterrupted Ananda supply. Like UPS, when the power supply is not there, we use UPS for the power supply and we'll get the benefit. Like that, Jnani has got uninterrupted Ananda supply from the Atma itself. உங்களுக்கு இப்ப நம்ம ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர்ஸ் ஒவ்வொருத்தர் சொல்லுவாங்க, ஃபேமிலி இங்க இல்லைன்னா நான் எப்படி வாழ்வேன், அவங்க இல்லைன்னா என்னால எதுவும் செய்ய முடியாது. அந்த மாதிரி டிபெண்டா அந்த மாதிரி இல்லாம உன்னுடைய ஆத்மா உன்னுடைய இன்சைட் இருக்கிறத இஃப் யூ ஹாவ் தட் நாலேஜ் அப்படின்னா ஞானி ஹஸ் அன்இன்டரப்டட் யூஎஸ்னா அன்இன்டரப்டட் ஆனந்த சப்ளை ஃப்ரம் ஆத்மா. அது இருந்தாலே பிரம்ம யோக யுக்தாத்மா. So Akshaya Sukam Asnute. Inexhaustible Sukam, Ananda, fullness, Purnatavam, like Akshay Patram, Draupadi Akshay Patram, Sapad Edka Vandika Mari, Nama Atma, Delame Irinda, Ella Sukamum, fullness, Purnatam, inexhaustible Sukam, Epum, infinite Ananda will have like Akshay Patram, Ulla, Narandi, Valdite, Economer, will not go for example. Pagas Percept, Pass. Jnani is not interested in or not obsessed with the external sense pleasures. he does not hate anything. Hatred is as much as a weakness as attachment. ஆனா வெளியில இப்ப அவருக்கு வந்து பிக்சா வர்றது அந்த இதுல இருக்க மாதிரி ஒரு நல்ல சாப்பாடு கிடைக்குதுன்னா யூ வில் என்ஜாய் தட். ஆனா வித் டிட்டாச்மெண்ட் அதுக்குன்னே யூ வில் நாட் கோ ஃபார் இட். வாட் எவர் ஹி கெட்ஸ் அது நல்லா இருந்ததுன்னா யூ வில் என்ஜாய் லைக் தட். எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ப்ளஷர் இருந்தாலும் பட் உள்ள இருக்கிற ஆனந்தத்துல மூழ்கி போனா அதெல்லாமே அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு பொருட்டா இருக்காது. தே வில் நாட் ஸ்பெண்ட் மச். அதுக்காக தே வில் நாட் கோ ஃபார் இட். தட் ஆத்மா ஆனந்தம் இஸ் வெரி மச் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் டு கெட் ஞானம் நாலேஜ் career.
Adiyanda bandaka kaundaya Nadeshu ramate kuda That is verses from 13 to 21 is Jnana Yoga. What is the central aim of this chapter is Jnana Yoga. That is Jnani and Jnani, that is. Jnani means wise person, Jnani means illiterate, that is ignorant. That is what is Jnani means, he is renouncing, that is he is leaving certain things. Then only he becomes Jnani. But here in 22 and 23rd verse, he is going to deal with two topics. One is mental preparation, regular self. And another reason is benefit to self-knowledge. Because that I read that, O Arjuna, those pleasures which are born of contact are indeed source of sorrow only. They have beginning and an end. The voice does not reveal them. That is, in this verse, that is Sambhadya Boha. Sambhadya Boha means contact with the organs or contact with the world. So what are the organs? We are having 5 organs, that is, when we contact only, we are getting pleasure. We are not only getting pleasure, we are getting pleasure in a moment. Before getting that pleasure, we are also getting sorrow, pain. So only next only we are getting that is we are getting after that also we are getting sorrow. That is Sambhadya. Suppose when the organs are there, there is no sorrow or that is happiness. So when the contact is in the world, then only we are getting sorrow, that is pain or happiness. Here, the first slogan, Vairagyam Adaivathu. Adam சொன்னது Vairagyam Adaivathu. So when you get Vairagyam only, then only you know who are you. And yeah, when you know that who are you, that is when you know the Atma, then only you can attain the Ananda. Ananda is permanent. So to attain Ananda, you have Vairagya. So to attain
Dispassion.
To attain Vairagya, this slogan is just like a mantra. So by this slogan, by chanting this slogan only, we cannot get that Vairagya. We should know the meaning of this slogan. Then only we can get Vairagyam. Then we will only renounce certain things. Then only we get Ananda. That is Kaundaya means that is Arjuna. Kundiputra அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. என்ன சொல்றாரு? அதாவது Sambhadya means ஆர்கனால கிடைக்கிறது. For example, Actually, before also we are getting pain. After also we are getting pain. We are getting happiness only a moment. That's only I told you. For that example, suppose you like jalebi. When the jalebi is put in before you, and somebody is talking Vedanta and other things, what do you think? So I like jalebi. But the jalebi is not given to eat, but we are seeing the jalebi only. We have some amount of some certain pain in ourselves. So when you eat one jalebi, you can get happiness. When you take two jalebi, the happiness will be reduced. That is law of diminishing return in economics. When you have the example, when you take one apple, the apple may be so sweet. When you take second apple, the apple the sweetness will be lesser. Just like that, when you eat more jalebi, what will happen? Suppose you are taking 30 jalebis or 40 jalebis, what will happen? The stomach pain will come. Suppose if you are taking only two jalebi, but you are hungry, then you are also not having happiness. You are having pain. That is known as sambarja, that is contact and the sambarja means next one, the adi and the கவுண்டை ஆதி அந்த முன்னாடியும் பின்னாடியும் ஆதிங்கிறத முன்னாடி பின்னாடி just like coin there are two sides, one side happiness, another side sad. So you should know happiness is only in eating jalebi. You are also having pain also like that. Second one, for every there is happiness, that is Sukha Dukkha Yenavaha. What is the main reason? That is Indriya Sukham. What is the main reason? Indriya Sukham. For that example, this Indriya Sukham may be same or it may be different. These are all not the Sarbella which is I taken from that. There nama Gurbana. Gurbana. I will hear it and then one. But then இதுல வந்து repeat confusing. So what is that Indriya Sukha means? Suppose one person is drawing an amount of 30,000 rupees salary, and that he was in business, he lost everything, and he came to the center of the road. The same way, a person who is drawing a 3,000 salary, he lost his job. He is also coming to the same persons are the same. Whether the same person will enjoy the same amount of pain? No. Why? Because the person who enjoyed more, his pain will be more. The person who enjoyed less will be less. That is this second way. Third one is, that is addict. Suppose we are having addict. For example, some people are having the habit of smoking. That is addict. When you first you will use one or two cigarettes, then that is addict. Or otherwise, suppose you are working in McDonald's, that is we are in Tamil Nadu. That is we transferred to Delhi. What we will first we will say, where is the hotel, Madras hotel? Because we like to eat only idli. Idli is not a even though he is addicted to eat, that is, we are having the habit of eating idli only. But northern people, they will interested only take rotis and chapatis. That is known as Vadimayam. This is Vadimayam. Bayam, Vadimayam, suppose what happened, இதெல்லாம் இல்லைன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, என்ன வரும்னா பயம் வரும். என்ன நமக்கு இது கிடைக்கலன்னா என்ன, கிடைக்கலன்னா என்ன அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு பயம் வரும். சரி, கிடைக்கலன்னா இதே மாதிரி கிடைச்சதுன்னா என்ன ஆகும், அதான் துன்பம் வரும், ரொம்ப சத்தம். அடுத்தது என்னன்னா, by using the same ஒரே ஒரு நம்ம ஆர்கனை யூஸ் பண்றோம், then it will be affected. It will less. For example, by saying the cell phone all the time, we are losing it. So that is known as balakina. These are all happen. The enjoyment, the happiness is not only there. Even though if you have happiness, you are having happiness at a short period, but there are lot of things before and after that enjoyment. That is the main theme of this sloka, this verse. But who will understand that this will be, that the happiness will be Jnana time, the wise people, that is Jnani will know this, this is the happiness in the short period. There is also pain by losing or contacting the organs, the world or the man. The ignorant may not know this thing. That is the main theme of this. Thank you. Thank you.
சம்பந்தமானோம் ஒரு ஹஸ்பண்ட் இருக்காங்க, ஹஸ்பண்ட் சொல்ற காத்திருக்கு நேற்று நாள் இஎம்ஐ ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ் நீங்க என்ன பண்றீங்க? சரி, அப்புறம்
எங்க போய் என்னது சாப்பிட்டு அதுவும் கிடைக்கும்.
சார் யாரு கப்பலா யாரா இருக்கீங்க? ஒன்றும் நான் இந்த மஞ்சள் போதும் இங்கே போதும் கப்பலா இருக்க 2 பேர் சார் நைட் காய்ச்சடிக்கணும் உங்க வீட்டுக்கு சொன்னாங்க. என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க அப்படின்னா அவங்க பேசாம இப்போ சரியா போயிடும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இப்போ 2வது என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? ஒரு டோலோ மாத்திரை சாப்பிட்டு காலையில் பேசினாங்க. அப்புறம் இன்னொருத்தர் கேட்டா ஃபீவர் இஸ் ஃபார் குட். ஃபீவர் வந்ததுன்னா ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் அந்த பாக்டீரியாவோட ஆக்ஷனை கண்டுபிடிக்கும். நம்ம உடம்போட எதிர்ப்பு சக்தி சரி கண்டுபிடிப்பேன். அவரு போட்டார் காய்ச்சல் அடிக்கணும் அப்படின்னா உங்களுடைய ரொம்ப வேண்டப்பட்ட காய்ச்சல் அடிக்கணும் தமிழ்நாடு கையை வச்சு படம் போட்டார். காலத்துக்கு வந்து 10 நிமிஷம் சரியா போகும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து இதுதான் பண்ணணும். நான் மாற்றணும் மாதிரி சொன்ன போட்டு படத்தை போட்டு காமிக்கிற ஃபீவருக்கு என்ன பண்றது? ஆர்கன் டச் பண்ணா அது இமீடியட்டா ஒரு அதுக்கப்புறம் சாரம்
with the organ and other
என்னென்ன பண்ணு அவங்க சொல்றாங்க. இந்த மாதிரிதான்
शक्नोति हैवय सुश्रुतं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणा कामक्रोधदोद्भावं वेगम् स युक्तः सुखी नरः that person who is able to manage the impulse born of desire and anger here itself before the fall of the body is disciplined, he is happy. So we have already seen that person who is able to manage the impulse born of desire and anger here itself before the fall of the body is disciplined. Before death, he is happy. That is, sir already explained in detail about desire and the anger followed by desire. So philosophy is not an idealism. It's something that we need to follow in our life. Only then it will be a benefit for us. But for example, there is a violin that is this person's grandfather's violin is kept in his drawing hall. He is also a violinist. But if he takes that violin and plays it, what happens? That will he be able to play the violin? It's been in the box for quite some time, for a few years. No, he has to tune it, he has to make the corrections before playing the violin. The same way, a person needs to make necessary adjustments within himself to being happy and to follow this philosophy. So, withstand the impulse of desire, that is raga, anger, dvesha, then he is a yogi. So, when desire that comes from our intellect will be in full force. If there is an obstacle right in front of it, then what happens? Anger follows the obstacle. So, the one who has one over joy and grief, the pleasant or the unpleasant, is no emotions at all. So always the opposites that we talk about, pleasant and unpleasant. So when we win over it and we are able to control the anger within us, the desire within us, then that is what withstand the impulse of desire and the anger. What happens? He is a yogi. That example is again in an office situation when your co-worker is being promoted and what will be your state of mind. Even in that state of mind also, you should maintain an equipoise mind where anger should not come inside you. So he who has gained mastery over the raga and dvesha is a powerful and most irresistible person. So when you win over it, naturally you become the strongest person. So who's capable of living in the world of multiplicity and imperfection. So whatever may be the imperfections or any multiple desires can come through your life, but you'll be capable of being a mind with equipoise mind. So he is an independent, solitary man of true and steady happiness. Live perfectly happily even while in this form among these worldly objects during his very life. So what happens to a jnani? You never attain moksha after your death. What you attain after your death is videha mukti. That is, you merge one among with the Brahman. But what happens when you attain moksha or you become a jnani in the living state is what explained in this verse. That is, none of the worldly objects will affect that person. So spiritual evolution is learning to renounce this impulse of desire and hatred. Desires and hatred, they are impulsive. So you see something, you get attracted to it. And naturally, what follows is anger. Very good. Akka, ready, huh?
ஹலோ
Chant பண்ணலாங்களா?
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாங்க. ஓகே. யோந்த சுகோந்தரம் யோந்த சுகோரந்தர ராம
யோகன சுகோதர
ததாந்திரி ஜோதிரேவயः स योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम् ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति. Meaning of the verse, that yogi whose happiness is within and whose recreation is within and whose vision is within has become Brahman while living and attains oneness with Brahman after death. So what is Jnanam? This verse speaks about the Jnana Phalam. நம்ம முன்னாடி வேர்சஸ்ல எல்லாமே பார்த்தோம். How to prepare our mind, how to overcome our emotions எல்லாமே பார்த்தோம். So after overcoming our emotions, becoming strong by emotions, what is அந்த பலன் என்ன? So self-realizing, self-knowledge is I am the higher I, not the anatma thing. So a person who discovers inner fulfillment, that is realizing the self-knowledge, is called yogi. That means yogi means who is emotionally stronger, emotionally renunciate from the materialistic world. So once he become a yogi, what are the uses? How he will be? That is the verse speaks. How the yogi will be? Anta sukha. Anta means inner consciousness. So he will be happy within. Understanding the external ananda is maya. Yogi gets his happiness from his inner consciousness. ஸோ வெளி உலகத்து வாழ்க்கையினுடைய எந்த எந்த விதமான பாதிப்புகளும் அவர் அஃபெக்ட் பண்ண போறதில்ல. ஹி இஸ் ஹாப்பி பை ஹிம்செல்ஃப். இன்னர் ஸ்ட்ரென்த் இஸ் அட்டாச்மெண்ட் ஃப்ரம் டிவைன் ஆல்வேஸ் அண்ட் thus becomes emotionally strong. So he becomes anta sukha. Next, antar arama, rejoice within. ஸோ சார் சந்திரசேகர் சார் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணாரு ஹவு நம்மளோட 5 இந்திரியங்களை வச்சு சுகம் அனுபவிக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னு மெட்டீரியல் வேர்ல்ட்ல. That is outer world. But a Jnani, what he discovers the playground within himself. So yogi realizes his purnatvam always. So he discovers his true nature. Thus his recreation is அவருக்குள்ளேயே அவருடைய recreation. He creates his joy. That is antar aramaha. And next, antar jyoti evayaga. So he is always attached with divine. Self-knowledge, always guided by the true knowledge about self. He enjoys things he is having. He can be joyful without things also. ஸோ அவருக்கு என்ன இருக்கோ அதையும் அனுபவிப்பாரு. ஸோ அந்த மெட்டீரியல் திங்ஸ் இல்லைன்னாலும் he will be joyful. So because he is always attached to the divine, always in the knowledge of that I am Atma, not Anatma. So he will never lose the sight of his inner freedom. Brahma Bhuta. So who becomes one with Brahman? He knows the fact that I am none other than Brahman. So நான் ஆத்மாவை தவிர வேற எதுவும் இல்லை அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறவர் பிரம்மன் ஆகிறாரு. அந்த யோகி I am full and complete. I am secure. Thus the yogi enjoys the Brahmatvam as long as he is alive until his prarabdha karma is over. So thus a Jnani gets that Brahma Bhuta status. And Brahma Nirvanam is called Videha Mukti. So when being happy always within himself, when being attached to divine always, when realizing I am not, I am Brahma, what he will be? He will be free from the cycle of birth and death. So obviously that yogi becomes oneness with Brahman. Hari Om.
That's a good explanation.
Sir?
Good explanation.
Oh, thank you, sir.
நான் சந்தோஷப்படுறேன். நான் எப்படி சொல்லுவோம்?
Sir, நான் எது சொன்னாலும் சந்தோஷப்படுவேன். நீங்க எது சொன்னாலும் I will take it in a good way, sir.
லபந்தே பிரம்ம நிர்வாணம்
லபந்தே பிரம்ம நிர்வாணம்
ऋषय क्षीण कल्मषाः चिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूता हि ते रताः Verse 5.25. sages who are free from impurities, who are self-restrained, who are interested in the welfare of all beings, and whose doubts are dispelled, attain oneness with Brahman. Swamiji says that this is a very beautiful verse because, again, this is one of the verses dealing with Jnana Phalam, the benefit of gaining self-knowledge. But Krishna is explaining these as stages of spiritual growth. So the first stage of spiritual growth is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, stage of purification and stage of Karma Yoga. We do our duties with empathy. We identify with the sorrow or the joy of the other persons or things, perform our duties, and become purified. So again, Panchamahayajna is included in this stage. And once we serve the society and we serve others, we develop empathy. That is, Swamiji says it is one of the basic human qualities required for Vedantic studies. Next stage. The next stage is Kshira Kalmashaha. It is freed of impurities or papa. Once we do Karma Yoga, our mind becomes purified, Chitta Shuddham, and we are able to think, be in such a disciplined life that we can go to the next stage of spiritual study. And here it said that we are even freed of our impurities of papa. Nama senja pavamum thandi varvam. And here Swamiji says that even to come to Gita study or Vedantic study, we should have that Ishvara Anugraham. Only then we will at least be inclined to think, oh, namma adhiyum padikalame thondrade vandu. It is because we have come to a stage of Shina Kalmashaha. The next stage is Yatatmanaha. This is the stage of spiritual growth. We should put effort in the right direction and work towards spiritual knowledge. நம்ம இங்க மறுபடியும் அதே தான் சொல்றாங்க. நம்ம Swamiji, God has given us the knowledge. We are not searching for it. The 6 of us have come here now. We have tried. We have come here. This knowledge is available to everyone here. But அவங்க அந்த effort எடுக்கல. So the next stage is, once we are gaining the Chitta Shuddhi and once we have come into a disciplined life, next is we have to go in search of knowledge. We have to put in time and effort to read our texts, and then we will attain Yatatmanaha stage. Next stage is Rishayaha. This is the stage of knowledge. Once we have known what is self-knowledge, what is Atma, what is Brahman, then we become a Rishaya. Rishaya does not mean a Rishi who is in the forest, who is wearing Kavi robes, left his family and all that. He can be a banker, he can be a top doctor, an industrialist. When he has attained that knowledge, he becomes a Rishi. Chinnadvaida is a stage of conviction. Once we do studies, we have gone through the Shravanam stage. Next is the Mananam stage, where we have to clear ourselves of that doubt. We have this knowledge. In the book available, we discuss a group, guru. But we have to keep studying, thinking. As our doubts arise, we have to clear those doubts. And once those doubts are cleared, we attain the stage of conviction for Samshaya Rahitaha or Chinnadvaida. We have to remove our doubts by raising questions and answering them. We should keep asking ourselves, is it correct? We should clear them. So the 3 questions which has been mentioned in the test is, am I really immortal? Na Atmava, na eppume aliyada Atmava. Is the God I worship no different from me? Everything is the same feeling. Is the world I experience less real than me? Nammalum Mayeda, Namma sutti irukra worldum Mayeda. That is the 3rd question. And once we have cleared our doubts, Namma Shravanam Panniyachu, Mananam Panniyachu. Next we come to the next stage is Brahma Nirvana Labhante. That is, we understand that Atma is within us. Nama engiyo poi Atma kuda servadilla. நம்ம இறந்து போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் நம்மளோட ஆத்மா உண்டாகிறது இல்லை. We are Atma and we identify with the Atma, and in such a way we merge with the Atma. Sorry.